Namaskar students, welcome back to another lecture on the topic magnetic field in matters. So in previous lectures we have learned and calculated the magnetic vector potential inside a matter, and there I have given the concept that when we calculate the potential inside a matter, then that total potential of the matter, that is basically a microscopic phenomena, that can be written in terms of volume bound current density and surface bound current density. That means rather than counting all the dipoles and in the matter, within the matter, we can just by knowing the surface bound current density and volume bound current density, then we can write the magnetic vector potential inside a matter of a matter. Okay, so in this lecture we'll move forward from uh, from that points where we have left, that we have calculated magnetic vector potential inside matter, then I have given the physical interpretation of the bound currents, and then I have solved some numerical problems based on the bound current and magnetization. So in today's lecture, we will try to solve and calculate the magnetic field inside a matter. So I will start from the same point where we have left there. So where we have started in previous lecture, that let us say we have a object which is magnetized. Okay, and let's say we have an arbitrary origin, and then we have to find out the magnetic field due to this magnetized object at some point P, and with this point is a function of x, y, z coordinate, and this magnetic object is a function of x prime, y prime, z prime. So this is let us say r prime vector, and this is r vector, and this is gamma vector. So this vector obviously that will be equal to gamma vector minus r prime vector. Okay, so in order to find out the magnetic field, so we know that if we are able to write down the magnetic vector potential at point P due to this magnetized object, then if we take curl of magnetic vector potential, then that will give the magnetic field. Remember, so we know that magnetic vector potential due to a magnetic dipole, that I have covered in my one of the lecture. We know that is equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi m sin theta upon m cross r unit vector upon r square, something like that it was there. Okay, so and in my previous lecture also I have covered when we were calculating the magnetic vector potential inside a matter. So there we have calculated and we have written in terms of magnetization, because if this object is magnetized, so there will be a magnetization, and we have defined the magnetization vector capital M, that is equal to total magnetic moments, that is small m upon volume of the object. So in order to do that, let us assume that a infinitesimal volume within the inside the material. Okay, and if we try to write down the magnetic vector potential for this quantity, and if we integrate, that will give the magnetic vector potential for whole object. So that is the how we do, and then we did that we have found that can be written in terms of bound current and surface current density. So again we are doing same thing. Okay, so we have a infinitesimal volume of, let us say, that is d tau prime, that is dx prime, dy prime, dz prime, and because of this infinitesimal volume, we have to write a magnetic vector potential at these points. So let us assume that this infinitesimal volume has a magnetic dipole moment m. So we can write this magnetic vector potential in terms of magnetic dipole moment, and after that we can write that in terms of magnetization. So magnetization, we know that is magnetic dipole moment per unit volume, or m can be written as a small m can be written as a magnetization into, that is volume. So here I have changed, that is in terms of volume I have written. So this is vector potential, that is mu 0 upon 4 pi integral magnetization vector. Obviously this magnetization vector is function of r prime, because that is coordinate of x prime, y prime, z prime, cross product with r unit vector upon r square into d tau prime. So this is again magnetic vector potential due to a magnetized object of having infinitesimal volume, that is dx prime, dy prime, dz prime at point P. Okay, and if we integrate this vector potential, so that will give the total vector potential of this magnetized object. So that is why I have integrated it. Okay, so this is the magnetic vector potential due to this whole magnetized object at point P due to magnetization of this object. Now in this lecture, what I am going to do different from the previous one. In previous lecture we have calculated the vector potential, and we found that this vector potential is in terms of surface bound current density and volume bound current density. But in today's lecture, what we will try to do, we will try to find out the magnetic field at point P due to this magnetized objects. So there in previous lecture we have calculated the vector potential in terms of volume bound current density and surface bound current density, but today we will do something different. Okay, what we'll do now, we find out this vector potential, and if we take the curl of this vector potential, that will give the magnetic field, directly magnetic field at point P. So that is what I am going to do in this lecture. Okay, so here if you see, if we write the coordinate, so obviously we can write that r vector, obviously that can be written as this x minus x prime, x unit vector, y minus y prime, y unit vector, z minus z prime, z unit vector, that is r vector. And if we write the magnitude, so that is under root x minus x prime ka square plus y minus prime ka square plus z minus z prime ka square. And if you see here we have r unit vector upon r square. If you see in this term, so I am talking about this term. So this term in the vector potential, this is basically one term, that is r unit vector upon r square. So my aim is to write this vector potential, and we replace this r unit vector upon r square in some other quantities. So that what I am going to do. So that is why I have taken 1 upon r. If you take 1 upon r, so that will give 1 upon, again that is in under root x minus x square, x minus x prime ka square, y minus y prime ka square plus z minus z prime ka square. Okay, so now if you take this 1 upon r, which is a scalar quantity, okay, if you take gradient of this scalar quantity, if you see this r vector, r 1 upon r, that is basically function of two coordinate, two coordinate, that is x coordinate and x prime coordinate, means x y z coordinate and x prime y prime z prime coordinate. So if you take gradient of this 1 upon r with respect to del prime coordinate, del prime means that is del upon del x, x unit vector, del upon del y, del upon del y prime, y unit vector, plus z upon z prime, this should be prime. So this should be prime. I think I have so this should be prime. So this should be prime, I forget. So this should be prime. Okay, so if you write this, so in terms of that obviously if you write, sorry, what happened? Okay, so if you write, so obviously this del prime operator will be this quantity, and 1 upon r, that is this quantity. And if you take this gradient of this whole quantity, so that what you will get, you will observe, thus you differentiate, so you will get r unit vector upon r square. Remember, gradient del prime into 1 upon r means gradient of 1 upon r in terms of prime coordinate. If you take, that will give r unit vector upon r square. But if you take again, if you do the same operation, means say you take the gradient of 1 upon r, but here the del operator will be in terms of x, y, z coordinates. That is del upon del x, x unit vector, del upon del y, y unit vector, plus del upon del z, z unit vector. Okay, and 1 upon r, that is same. So if you do this operation, what you will get? You will get minus r unit vector upon r square, okay, rather than plus r unit vector upon r square. That is the difference. Otherwise both operations are giving the same, just you are changing basically difference, means a gradient with respect to the prime coordinate and with respect to the unprime coordinate. That is basically changing. So this is minus r prime upon r unit vector upon r square. That means this implies that one can write r unit vector upon r square is equal to minus gradient of 1 upon r. If you see here, what I was showing here, here if you see, so that I was showing this thing, that is 1 minute. So this one I was showing this r unit vector upon r square. It means in place of r unit vector upon r square, what we can write? We can write minus gradient of 1 upon r. That's what why I wanted to convey the message. Okay. So now if you do, okay, now if you do this, what we'll get? We will get this again if you write the vector potentials, that is vector A at point r position is equal to, so now we can write in place of r unit vector upon r square, we can write minus gradient of 1 upon r. So what we will get? We will get this coordinate, this value, so that is minus mu 0 upon 4 pi integral magnetization vector, which is function of r prime, cross product with gradient of 1 upon r, that is d tau prime. So that is same, just I have replaced this quantity. I hope you understood. Okay. Now our aim is to find out the magnetic field due to that whole magnetized object. And why I am doing this? Because if you see the actual microscopic magnetic field inside matter fluctuates wildly from point to point and instant to instant. When we speak of the magnetic field inside matter, we mean that microscopic field. Okay, so that is, try to understand the difference. We are started from the microscopic point of view. We are considering the each and every tiny dipole, and then we are trying to calculate the magnetic field due to whole object. So we are starting from the microscopic point of view, and we are coming at the microscopic level, micro to micro level. Okay, so that is what we are going to do that. So that means microscopic field, and the average over region large enough to contain many atoms. Many atoms means many dipole. The magnetization capital M is here smoothed out in the same sense as we have done earlier in case of, if you remember, that is in case of electrostatic. So it is the microscopic field. Okay, that is the microscopic field one obtains. Okay, by we have applied this we have calculated the this vector potential, that was microscopic, and if you take the curl of this vector potential, so that will give the microscopic field due to the magnetized object due to this object. Okay, so here I have shown this object. So what we are doing, we are starting from each and every tiny dipole, that is microscopic level, and we are reaching up to the microscopic level. So that's what I am going to do. So this if you try to find out this B vector at position r is equal to del cross vector potential A, so obviously we can write that we have to take curl of this vector potential A. If you take curl of vector potential A, so what we will get? We will get vector B at position r is equal to minus, this minus remains same, so this minus came because of this minus, so this minus mu 0 upon 4 pi, and then this curl of integral magnetization vector M, which is function of r prime, again cross product with gradient of 1 upon r d tau prime. So curl of something. Okay, so now we have to find out this what we can write this value, that is curl of something. Okay, so in order to find out this quantity, so again I will start with the vector identity. So we have a vector identity, that is curl of C, means we have a two vector, that is vector A and vector C. So basically there is cross product of two vector, that is A cross B. If you take the curl of these two vectors, obviously resultant of A cross C, that is A vector, A is a vector, C is a vector, and a cross product that will result a vector, and if you take the curl of that vector, so how we can write? So that vector identity can be written as a vector A, that is divergence of del dot C minus that is vector A dot del outside of the bracket vector C minus, that is vector C divergence of A, that is del dot A, plus in bracket that is C dot del, okay, outside the bracket, that is A vector. Now if you see clearly, so here we have a del operator. Okay, if you see here I have a del operator, remember that is not prime, This is not del prime, this is del. Okay, that means this del operator is a function of x, y, z coordinate. And if you see this vector vector r, sorry, this vector m, capital M, which is function of r prime, so this vector m is a coordinate of x prime, y prime, z prime. Okay, so out of this vector identity, if you choose vector a as a vector m, capital M, means vector a is equal to vector vector m, vector capital M. Okay, and vector c is equal to, you choose, that is gradient of 1 upon r, and obviously del operator, that is equal to del operator. So if you replace this, if you do that, obviously this del operator is function of x, y, z coordinate. So when you do this del divergence of a, means del dot a is function of x prime, y prime, z prime, and this del operator is a coordinate of x, y, z. So means these coordinates are not matching. This coordinate of this m, okay, this m, and coordinate of this m, because this is coordinate of x, y, x prime, y prime, z prime, and this is operator of del x, del upon del x, del upon del y, del upon del z. So when you take the divergence, so that means obviously if you differentiate that, if you differentiate this quantity, so that will be constant with respect to x, so that will give the 0. So that is why I have cutted this quantity, that will give the 0. Similarly, if you take c dot del, okay, if you take c dot del in bracket and outside of vector a, it means first you take the dot product of c vector, means obviously this is gradient of 1 upon r, that is a vector, with del operator. Okay, so that will give c del upon cx, del upon del x, cy, del upon del y, cz, del upon del z. Okay, if we this have a component, and now if you operate this vector on a, vector a is function of x prime, y prime, z prime, and again this is del upon del x, del upon del y, del upon z, del z. So this will again give you 0. Okay, so I think I have done this calculation in next page. So if you go to the next page, so if you see, yes, I have done here. If you see, that is c dot del dot a. So c is equal to gradient of 1 upon a r, and del is del, and a vector is equal to capital M vector, which is function of r. Obviously, if you del operator is function of x, y, z, and m vector is function of x prime, y prime. So this del, this m function is constant with respect to x prime, y prime, z prime is constant with respect to x, y, z. This del operator, so this will give 0. Similarly, if you see here, so this c is equal to gradient of 1 upon r dot del operator outside of bracket, that is m vector. So this first you have to take dot product. So this del operator, del upon del x, del upon del y, del upon del z will not operate on this, but this will give the dot product. Okay, and then this del upon del x plus del upon del y plus del upon del z will operate on this prime coordinate, that is x prime, y prime, z prime. So again this will give the 0 quantity. So that is why these two in this vector identity, sorry, in this vector identity, what I have done in next previous page. So in this vector identity, these two quantity will be equal to 0. Okay, so what remaining quantity we have now? Now we have del cross a cross c is equal to vector a in bracket del dot c minus in bracket a vector dot del outside the vector, that is c. Okay, so now if you do that, so what we are remaining? So I have substituted the value. So in del cross vector a, that is m capital M vector, function of r prime, cross product with del operator, that is gradient of 1 upon r, is equal to, so 2 was remaining. So that is vector a, that is capital M vector in bracket, that is divergence of vector c, that is del operator dot gradient of 1 upon r minus, okay, then vector a dot del into vector c. So that is gradient, that is capital M vector, which is function of r prime, into del operator outside the bracket, that is gradient of 1 upon r. So now if you go back to the previous page, what we have? We have here, it means in place of del cross m cross gradient of 1 upon r, what we can write? We can write these two quantity. So this means we, in place of this quantity, we can write this right hand side quantity. So if you do that, so what magnetic field will be there? So then magnetic field, that minus sign persists from previous, there minus sign was there, you see here, so that was minus sign, I think, yes, this is minus sign will be there. Okay, so that is minus mu 0 upon 4 pi integral. So in place of this I have divided into two component, so two parts, so that is capital M vector, which is function of r prime, okay, and del divergence of gradient, that is del square, so that is del square 1 upon r, del dot del, that is del square, so that is 1 del square 1 upon r into d tau prime. And here it was minus, but one minus was earlier, so that minus minus plus, so this become plus, that is mu 0 upon 4 pi integral, so that is M, capital M vector dot product with del operator in bracket close, that is gradient of 1 upon r d tau prime. So we know, so if you write this del square 1 upon r, okay, so again I will take the help of Dirac delta function, that is if you go in Griffith first chapter, so there it is described very nicely. So that from Dirac delta function, this del square 1 upon r can be written as minus 4 pi delta cube r. Okay, so del square 1 upon r, del square 1 upon r can be written as minus 4 pi delta cube r. R in present situation we have two coordinates, that is r prime and r. So we can write minus 4 pi delta cube r minus r prime. That means if r is equal to r prime, then this value will be equal to minus 4 pi integral also. Obviously there will be integral, so this should be integral also. So here one integral should be there. So 1 minute, thin, obviously. So here that should be integral. So if you write the here integral will be also there. So this is integral. Okay, integral d tau, integral d tau prime, d tau hai. Now if you write here, so that will be d tau prime. Okay, that is d tau prime. That means here I have written here. So if you put that, if you do that, so what will obtain? We will obtain that is so this, okay, so this minus sign, because of this, if you write this, so this minus sign of this Dirac delta function, so that will give this minus sign, this will be plus, so that is mu 0 upon 4 pi, so mu 0 upon 4 pi, and obviously this vector capital M, so capital M vector which is function of r prime integral, so we can write this minus 4 pi, so this minus this become plus, so that is 4 pi delta cube r minus r prime d tau prime. So this integral and 4 pi delta cube r minus r prime d tau, that is equal to 1 if r becomes equal to r, means that is this Dirac delta function exists only at r is equal to r prime, and elsewhere it will be equal to 0. Okay, so that is why when I keep r is equal to r prime, so that becomes 1, that means this will give the 4 pi. So this 4 pi and 4 pi will be cancelled out. Okay, this 4 pi and 4 pi will be cancelled out. And if you see here, what we have a gradient of 1 upon r, that is gradient of 1 upon r. If you go to the previous page, I have calculated gradient of 1 upon r. So what we have obtained? Gradient of 1 upon r, that can be written as minus r unit vector upon r square. So it means here gradient of 1 upon, in place of gradient of 1 upon r, we can write minus r unit vector upon r square, or we can write r vector upon r cube. Okay, because this r unit vector upon r square is equal to r vector upon r cube, just I have multiplied the r unit vector with r vector upon r. Okay, so then this magnetic field will become, that is obviously that B at position r will be equal to, if you write, so that is mu 0, this 4 pi cancel, that is capital M r prime, okay, So that here I have written that is mu 0 and capital sorry this mu 0 capital M vector, which is function of r now, because here r prime becomes equal to r. So that is why I have written this mu 0, which is now becomes capital function of capital R. Okay, minus, why this minus? Because this minus that will give the minus, so minus mu 0 upon 4 pi. Okay, so this will give, that is integral, so this M, capital M, which is function of r prime dot with del operator into r vector upon r cube d tau prime. So this is what magnetic field we have obtained inside a material. That is a microscopic phenomena. Now again I will use one more vector identity. Okay, so here if you see what we have a vector and a del operator, and again multiply by a vector. So if you choose the vector identity, that is we have two vector A dot c. A dot c means we have a scalar here, and if we take the gradient of this scalar, means gradient of a dot product of two vector. So del in bracket A dot c, that can be written as in bracket vector A dot del and bracket close, that is c, plus in bracket c vector dot del bracket close, that is vector A, plus vector A cross product in bracket del cross c plus c cross product with del cross A. Okay, so this is vector identity. So now if you compare our value here, if we choose, let us say vector A is equal to capital M, which is function of r prime, and vector c is equal to r vector upon r cube. So if you put these two value, so what we will get? That is dot product of capital M vector with r vector upon r cube, and if you take the gradient, that is del operator, then we can write in place of A, that is M, capital M vector dot del bracket close, that is vector c, that is r vector. So this should be vector c. Okay, so this should be vector c here. So this should be vector, I forget, this is vector. So you get this vector c, that is r vector upon r cube, plus and then c dot del. So vector c means r vector upon r cube, so r vector upon r cube dot del. So del, that is a del in bracket close, that is vector A, that is capital M, which is function of r prime, plus A cross del cross c. A cross is equal to this capital M vector cross product del cross that is c, that is r vector upon r cube bracket close, plus again c cross plus c cross. So that is, I think this should be cross product. Yeah, so this should be cross product, doesn't matter. So that is c cross. So that is again what we have, that is r vector upon r cube cross, that is del cross capital A vector, that is M vector, which is function of r prime. Okay, so this is what we have obtained. Now if you see carefully this vector identity, so here this del is a function of x, y, z, and this vector capital M, this is function of x prime, y prime, z prime. If you take cross product of this del operator with capital M vector, obviously that will give the 0. Why? Because if you differentiate this x prime with respect to x coordinate, so that will give the 0. So this will be equal to 0. Similarly, if you see here, this is the dot product of r vector, this is r vector upon r cube, that is obviously function of x, y, z, and this del operator is also function of x, y, z. So if you take the dot product, so that will give the dot product, but this del operator, that will not operate on the x, y, z, because that is the dot product in opposite side. Okay, we are not taking the divergence, we are taking the dot product. Now, so this will give, so here del upon del x plus del upon this r vector upon r cube outside, and this x unit vector will cancel out, means x dot x plus x dot y dot y unit vector plus y unit vector, x dot x cap will become 1, y cap dot y cap will become 1, z cap dot z cap will become 1. So it will remaining del upon del x plus del upon del y plus del upon del z. When you operate this del operator on this prime coordinate, that is m is function of prime coordinate, that is x prime, y prime, z prime. So that will again this will become 0. So out of this vector identity, so this becomes 0 and this becomes 0. So what will be remaining? So remaining will be there. So if you see, so these two are remaining, and out of these two value, if you see here, what we have in our magnetic field, we have a capital M dot del, okay, and outside that is vector r vector upon r cube, okay. So if you compare this value, so this is quite equal to this value. So that is capital M vector, which is function of r prime dot del outside of the bracket, that is r vector upon r cube, plus this cross capital M vector cross product del cross r vector upon r cube. It means in place of this quantity, okay, in place of this quantity, we can write here, I have written this quantity minus this quantity, okay. So I written here. So if you write, that means capital M vector dot del in bracket, that is r vector upon r cube, can be written as a del operator, means gradient of dot product of two vector, that is vector M dot with the r vector upon r cube, minus capital M vector cross product with del operator with cross r vector upon r cube. Now if you substitute, it means in place of this here magnetic field, if you see, so this magnetic field is a basically summation of two quantity, that is mu 0 capital M minus that is mu 0 into this quantity, okay. So now I am trying to calculate this quantity separately. So if you calculate this mu 0 upon 4 pi integral capital M dot with del operator outside the bracket, that is r vector upon r cube, so what we will get? We will get let us say I am writing here mu 0 upon 4 pi integral, that is in bracket capital M dot del outside the bracket, that is r vector upon r cube d tau prime, can be written as now this quantity, that is that is this minus. So this will be minus here because of this minus mu 0. So minus mu 0 upon 4 pi this del integral. So this integral, that is in bracket, what we will get, that is this quantity, that is M vector. So this will be M vector, okay, M vector, which is function of r prime dot r vector upon r cube bracket close, that is d tau prime, okay, that is d tau prime, and then this minus, and because of this minus, so this minus will become plus, okay. That is mu 0 upon 4 pi again integral. So we can write this that will be M vector, which is function of r prime cross product with del operator again with cross r unit vector upon r cube. So this cross product of del cross r vector upon r cube, and we take the cross product of this, so that is d tau prime. So this is the means in place of this quantity in this integral in this value, that is b, in this equation, in place of this quantity mu 0 upon 4 pi integral M dot del outside the bracket r vector upon r cube d tau prime, we can write this quantity. So this we can write, okay. So if you write that, so what we will get, I have written here. So if you write, so we will get this value. So that is mu 0 capital M minus mu 0, okay, you don't miss anything, any point, minus mu 0 bracket close, okay. So if you don't write minus 1, so this will be plus, so that is del, I have written bracket, medium bracket, so del operator on divergence of M vector dot with r vector upon r cube. So that is divergence of M vector, divergence of M dot r vector upon r cube. See, del operator, that means this become gradient of some scalar function, and then again this minus, so this was minus, if you see here, if you take the minus outside, so this was minus, so that is why I have written minus integral, and then I have taken mu 0 upon 4 pi outside, okay, minus mu 0 upon 4 pi outside. So that is minus m vector cross product with del cross r unit vector upon r cube, r vector upon r cube. Sorry, that is vector written. So that is r vector upon r cube. So this is r vector upon r cube. Okay, that is d tau prime. Now if you see carefully this equation, so this is the basically magnetic field due to a magnetized object, okay, and this is the microscopic phenomena. Remember, this is very important equation. So this is what we are observing. So this is important equation, okay, so this is important equation. So that is important, very important, and this equation tells so many physics to us inside a matter. This is important equation, okay. What is important? That means magnetic field due to a magnetized object, if you try to find out outside of this magnetized object, so that is equal to mu 0 capital M vector. Capital M vector is, that is the magnetization, okay, magnetization of the magnetic material, minus again some quantity, that is a complex integration, okay. So that is again complex integral, but again here magnetization term is there, magnetization term is there, okay. That means whatever magnetic field we are getting due to a magnetized object, that is a microscopic phenomena, that is basically due to the magnetization of the that particular material, okay. And this complex integrals can be simplified if we take the curl of magnetic field B. If you take the curl of B, that is what we have learned. We have learned if you take the curl of B, that is basically giving the Ampere's law. Ampere's law in a, now inside a material. What we have learned, that Ampere's law in a vacuum, in a free space. But now if you take the because this magnetic field correspond to the matter, so if you take the curl of this magnetic field, so that will give the curl law, Ampere's law in a matter. So del cross B, if you take del cross B, which is function of r, that is equal to mu 0 del cross M, obviously del cross M, minus mu 0, and if you operate here del this mu 0 in this minus mu 0 in both, if you open the bracket, so that is minus mu 0 upon 4 pi del cross gradient, means curl of gradient of some scalar, curl of gradient of some scalar, because this m dot r vector upon r cube, so this is scalar, and you have operated del operator, that is gradient, and now you are taking the curl. So curl of gradient of a scalar, we know that always equal to 0. Curl of a gradient is equal to always 0. I think I have stated in my next page. So this quantity that becomes equal to 0, okay. So now if you operate this curl of on this quantity, so what will you get? That is this minus plus mu 0 del cross M vector, del cross M vector, which is function of r prime, cross this del cross r vector upon r cube, okay. Now if you see carefully this quantity, this one, if you see this clearly, so this is, we are taking the curl of a M vector, okay. So this curl of r vector upon r cube, that is again a given vector, and again we are taking the cross product with this M, which is function of r prime, okay. So that means if you calculate whole things, that is if you operate del operator, if you take the curl of M, which is function of x prime, y prime, z prime, and this del operator is function of x, y, z, so this integral will become equal to 0. Means when you take the curl of B out of these all integrals, complex integral, this basically vanishes, this cancel out, only this remaining quantity will be remaining. So if you see in next page, so what will obtain? Because I have written that curl of gradient of a scalar is always equal to 0, that is why second value become a second term of integral becomes 0. So this means, so that will give del cross B, that is curl of B will give, that is mu 0 del cross M, okay. What you are getting something? That means, and if you remember, go back to the beginning, so what I have defined, del cross M, that is equal to what? If you take the del cross M, that is equal to the bound current, volume bound current density. Remember, that was the bound current, and this bound current was coming due to the magnetization of the material. Okay, so that means we can write this del cross B, curl of B, inside a magnetic field, in a magnetic field, in a magnetized object, that can be written as a mu 0 JB, or rather than writing JB, if you write JM, that is more clearly showing. Whether you write this notation JB, that is a bound current density, or you write JM, so this JM means both are the current is same. Okay, whether you denote with JB or JM, both are the meaning same, but here this because this bound current, volume bound current density is coming due to the magnetization. Okay, that is why I have written JM. So if you write JM, that is more clearly visible, that is because of the magnetization of the material. So it means whatever magnetic field means, if you have obtained for magnetized material, if you take the curl of B, so that is nothing, that is basically giving the current due to the magnetization. That is, this is known as the magnetization current density. So that is due to, that is the volume bound current density. So del cross B is equal to mu 0 JB or mu 0 JM. If you remember, when we have taken vacuum, we have taken free space, curl of B, so that was mu 0 J, that was simply mu 0 J. That was not due to the bound current or not due to the magnetization current. But here, inside material, whatever you are observing, del cross B you are taking, that is coming due to the magnetization current or bound current. Okay, that means, and this is giving the very nice concept. Okay, that means if you try to write Ampere's law inside a matter, it means then we know that inside a matter there will be some free charge carriers, and those free charge carriers, we know they are basically conduction current, means only current used to flow in a material, that is due to the due to the free charge carriers. So that means when we are trying to write, if we try to write Ampere's law in a matter, we have to include two current. One current is because of the magnetization, or one can say because of the bound current density, and one current because of the conduction current, or because of the free charge, free current, what we call. In some book, if you go to the Griffith or some other books, so in some book they have called this conduction current as a free current, and this bound current due to the magnetization current, they have called the magnetization, JB, bound current and free current. But here I am denoting this conduction current, because this conduction current symbol, this is making more clear. This current is basically the conduction current, means current due to the free charges, and this current is coming due to the magnetization of the object. So that means we have to include two current when we write the Ampere's law in magnetic material. Okay, so that is why if we write del cross B inside a matter, that will be equal to mu 0 JM. JM means current due to magnetization, as I have discussed here, JM or JB. In some book maybe you will get JB, plus JF or JC, that is the conduction current. So this is del cross B is equal to mu 0 JM plus JC. This is known as the Ampere's law in a magnetized object or material. Okay, so this corrections we have to do when we are dealing with the materials in Ampere's law in a matter, where I have written this JM is a magnetization current or volume current density, volume bound current density, JC is the conduction current or free current. Okay, now if you take the integral of this del cross B, surface integral, so we can write del cross B is equal to del dot surface integral del cross B dot dA is equal to mu 0. Here again we take surface integral, that is surface integral JM dot dA plus mu 0 surface integral JC dot dA. If you remember the definition of current density, so this surface integral JM dot dA and surface integral JC dot dA, that is basically equal to the current, but this current is bound current and this current is a free current. Okay, or we can write this JM is equal to del cross B. We know that I have defined earlier, this JM is equal to del cross M. If you do that, so what we'll get? We'll get surface integral del cross B dot dA is equal to mu 0 surface integral del cross M. Just in place of JB I have written this quantity del cross M dot dA plus mu 0 surface integral jc dot dA. So this what will get. Okay. So now if you further go to the next page, so from we can apply the Stokes law. So what I have done, I have taken this quantity. So this quantity, this is surface integral, this is surface integral. So this quantity I can take this side. So I have taken this side, that is surface integral, that is curl of B dot dA minus mu 0 surface integral del cross M dot dA is equal to mu 0, this quantity, that is surface integral jc dot dA. From Stokes theorem, we can write this surface integral into a line integral. So this can be written as del cross B dot dA can be written as line integral of closed path B dot dl, and this can be written as a line integral of closed path M dot dl. Okay, so this I have written. So this will be equal to mu 0 surface integral j dot dA. If you see here, this j dot surface integral jc dot dA, so this is what? This is basically the total current, and this current is coming because of the conduction current, and that is basically because of the free charges, free current. So that is why we will call this is conduction current. So if we write, so here we take this line integral outside, so we can take this B minus mu 0 m, so we can write this quantity, that is line integral closed path B minus mu 0 m dot dl is equal to mu 0 IC. IC or IF, maybe in some book you get IF also, free current. So that means if you simplify this equation, so this mu 0 will be cancelled out. What will you get? Line integral of closed path in bracket B upon mu 0 minus m. Okay, I have taken mu 0 common, so this B upon mu 0 minus m dot dl is equal to I into IC, that is conduction current. Okay. Now I will introduce a new quantity here, and this is very important quantity. I will define a new quantity, that is H vector. Remember, I am calling this is H vector, capital H vector. So this is equal to B vector upon mu 0 minus m. Okay. So this H vector is exactly or quite similar to the what we have defined in case of electrostatic in dielectrics, that was displacement vector. Okay. But here we are not calling this is displacement vector, just we will call H vector. In if you go to the different book, maybe in different reference, you may get the different name of this H vector, but all those names I assume that they are not correct. Simply you call this H vector as a magnetic field vector H. Okay, and this H vector is known as the magnetic field vector S, and B is also known as the magnetic field vector B, and M is known as the magnetization vector. So if you go in several interview, maybe sometimes experts asks you what is difference between HBM या BMH. Okay, so M is a magnetization vector, B is a magnetic field vector, and H is simply called as a magnetic field vector H. Okay, in some reference book, authors have quoted that this is known as the magnetic field intensity vector, and this is known as the magnetic flux density vector and magnetic induction, but I don't feel those definitions are correct. If you go in Griffith, so Griffith has clearly mentioned that this is he is calling this is vector magnetic field vector B, and he is calling this magnetic field vector H. Okay, so thus this field vector H and field vector B. Simply never call this is intensity vector, never call this is flux density, this is magnetic induction. Okay, so this is, one can say this is flux density vector, because this B is associated with the flux, because that is a surface integral of B divergence of B dot dA, that is basically associated with the flux density. So one can call sometimes maybe flux density vector, but I feel simply you call magnetic field vector B, and simply for this you call magnetic field vector H. So if you try to develop a relation between B and H, so we can write B is equal to mu 0 H plus M. Okay, so in place of this B upon mu 0 minus M, we can write H. So this will give line integral of closed path H dot dl equal to IC, that is enclosed, because we are doing the integral of a closed path. So that is why I have written enclosed, means whatever current enclosed within the Amperian loop in a closed path. So this is known as the Ampere's law in magnetic material in a integral form. So this was earlier what I have written del cross here del cross H, del cross B, sorry. So this del cross B, that is J mu 0 Jm plus Jc. So this is the Ampere's law in differential form. Okay, or if you include the H term, so that will give del cross H is equal to J free or Jc, that is differential form. And if you write in integral form, that is line integral of closed path H dot dl is equal to free current IC, a conduction current enclosed in the closed loop. Okay, so that is Ampere's law in magnetic material. This is integral form. As I discussed here, above, that this H vector is quite similar to the displacement vector in electrostatic, here in magnetostatic, but simply you call this is magnetic field vector H, and B you call magnetic field vector B, and this M you call magnetization vector M. So I hope this lecture is useful to you. Okay, and if you have any suggestions, comment, doubt, please feel free to write on my YouTube channel. Thanking you very much for listening. Thanks a lot.